Austin?
Going?
Are you in Austin?
When am I?
Where are you located?
Oh,
Where?
we are live. Hi. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our live stream. Yay! I'm here with Dr. Joel Kahn, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to turn off the volume so we don't get double noise. Oh, good old Facebook. Good old Facebook. He's just quiet. I've muted him for a second. Now I'm going to mute Facebook.
Technology.
Okay,
Hi,
good.
everybody.
All right, now I can unmute you. There's this trick to this thing that I haven't figured out another way around. All right, there we go. So we should hear you now. Hello, Dr. Kahn, Joel.
Hello. How are you, Ritamarie? Buonasera. Buonasera.
I'm excited to be here with you, and I'm excited to share you with the audience. I've known you for several years, and we've had some very great and lively discussions, and I'm really excited about your new book and just all the great work you're doing. You know what?
I think the problem is going to be keeping this under 6 hours.
Yeah,
it's it's almost like a Viagra commercial. If anybody's on Facebook Live for more than 4 hours, call your doctor.
There you go. I once did a 3-hour Facebook Live, but I have a hard stop at 7:30 in an hour and a half, so that'll.
Okay, it's cool.
Because I know we could talk for hours about this topic, and I'm excited to have you here. So I wanted to share you with people because, you know, I'm a big advocate. Kind of like we've got it all wrong in the medical system, and I think you agree, even though you came from that place and you are in that place, that we have it wrong, that we're trying to treat disease rather than heal and balance people's bodies. And so I talk about this a lot, and I love what you're doing because you are a cardiologist. You're a cardiologist who used to do surgery on people, right?
Yeah, I used to put in probably 10,000 stents, unclogging people's arteries with a piece of stainless steel that's not natural. It's a foreign object. It raises all kinds of other issues, though it can be life-saving in the situation. But it's prevent, not stent. I own that trademark because, you know, the ideal world would have almost nobody having that procedure, and that's the awakening we need to come to.
You know, I was talking to somebody this morning, and I said, you know, in the ideal world, Western medicine does only what it's good at, which is trauma, saving lives in the case of emergency urgent care. They're great at that.
Right. You're riding your bicycle to the farmer's market to buy kale and arugula and bok choy. You don't see the crack. You break your bone. Great system. Just be sure to get the arugula, bok choy, and kale before you go to the emergency room, because they're going to feed you, you know, grilled cheese and hamburgers and Pepsi.
Right. I have a list that I've given people of what they should do if they ever have to land in the hospital for that reason, like what they say. It's
called water fasting.
Yeah. I'm on the 9th day.
Wow. Aren't you radiant?
I ate my first meal, which was blended broccoli, Brussels sprouts, zucchini, and ginger. That was my first meal.
Wow. Does that sound amazing?
Yeah, on the 9th day. Yeah, and I've been measuring glucose, measuring ketones, just kind of doing a scientific thing just to see what's happening. And it's really cool.
Good.
Really cool. But I'm ready to get my, you know, I've lost too much weight already, and I'm ready to get it back. Not get it back, but I mean, stabilize here and not, you know, and get my energy back. Because exercise has been a little challenging on a fast.
Right? Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to be exercising on a fast.
I know. You know, I did, my blood sugar it maintained in the 30s last week. And then which I was fine at. I mean, I felt amazing. Wow. In the 30s, and my ketones were up at like 6. So, you know, balance, I was burning ketones. But what happened was, and you probably, you know, most people probably do go that low. They just don't measure it. So I wanted to scientifically see what's going on. And so, and I don't mean to get off topic, but I think this is interesting and you'll be interested in this. So what happened was I exercised on Saturday. It was day 5 or so. And I just did like 20 push-ups and a minute and a half of plank, which not a lot of exercise.
Yeah, right.
Most people don't do that on a daily basis. So it's, you know, I guess it was intense, but that's it. That's all I did. And within, I would say, half an hour after I exercised, my blood sugar went from in the 30s to in the 60s. And then, an hour later, it went into the 50s and then the 60s. So huge difference. And I'm like, where's it coming from, right? The glycogen's gone. And then I said, you're burning muscle. You shouldn't be doing this. I got to exercise.
Yeah, right. There's
Right.
actually, I just, again, off topic, I just finished reading one of the most interesting books I've ever read in 35 years of medicine called Presto, Presto, by Penn Jillette. Penn Jillette, the comedian of Penn and Teller, who lost 120 pounds in about 4 months using a plant-based, non-ketotic, carbohydrate, whole food rich diet of limited calories. But he's got a whole chapter. He was a couch potato, literally, because he ate potatoes and sat on the couch under the advice, no exercise. When you're losing weight, don't exercise. It's time of catabolism. When you're in the summertime and it's sunshine and you're like a bear gaining weight for the winter,
Right.
yeah, go ahead and exercise and gain some pounds. But in the winter, shut the mouth, stop exercising, and drop the adipose fat. So very interesting concept.
Yeah, I like the idea, but what do you think of just like walking, going for a walk, 10 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Right, just to keep your...
You're right. If you go to True North and do a 2-3 week water fast, you're mainly sitting, sleeping, and very sedate. Walking is always fair game for the healthy person. You're super healthy.
Yeah.
Some people are doing water fasting for advanced medical problems. I really would lay off exercise. You'll end up with a blood sugar of 20 and pass out.
And I did lay off exercise, but I was craving it on Saturday. So I did it and then it didn't work out that well. But one last thing, and then we'll move on to some of the other topics I wanted to ask you about was, what was it? Oh, well, I'll come back to it. It came to me when you said True North. When I did my 28-day water fast.
Oh.
I did a 28-day at a place that is no longer around, but it was in California, in Watsonville, California. It was called the Religious School of Natural Hygiene.
Yeah, the natural hygiene movement. Yeah, very cool.
And I just went there. I mean, I was sick and I had all these problems and nothing was helping me. And that was my foray into 100% plant-based diet. But I did it for 28 days. And I walked every day, but it was like minimal. It was like right around the property. So anyway, Dr. Kahn he's a cardiologist, and you heard that he used to do stints and now he doesn't. Do you ever do any stints anymore? I mean, do you ever do surgeries?
I don't do stents right now. Yeah. I have hospital privileges. I have privileges to do stents, but I have a completely preventive, nutritional, integrated practice. And the rare patient that shows up that is truly in trouble and has no choice, I have lots of colleagues, but I do literally own the trademark Prevent Not Stent. I think that should be the national goal, but it's not the financial goal of medicine right now. There's way more money in emergency room stent business than there is in talking to people how to make a smoothie or how to do a water fast or how to exercise appropriately for their health.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all, that's so much of it is just financial driven because they're not going to make money on telling people to eat.
Right, but there is progress. There was a study in November 2017 called the Orbita trial that showed that for a specific kind of heart condition called chronic angina, not you're in the emergency room about to die, that stents were no better than placebo. It rocked the cardiology world. It's created a lot of discussion. And some very, very, very highbrow international figures in cardiology have said, we really need to restructure the payment program. If this is true, we need to reward the cardiologist who says, stop, no stents. We're going to pursue nutrition, exercise, mind, body, supplements, and we need to teach and reward that financially so that there's a incentive, because otherwise human nature is you have a car payment, you have a college payment, you have an overhead, and I have the skill to put in stents, but I choose not to because there's a better path for most people.
For most people, yeah, I totally get that. But for the insurance companies, you would think that the insurance companies would be hearing this stuff. They're the ones paying out. So wouldn't they rather pay somebody to go through a program with you to learn how to eat than the $40,000-$50,000 that they have to pay out to do surgery or more?
Right. So there are two examples of such a program. They both are plant-based that are approved by Medicare and other insurers. But unfortunately, if you've had a heart attack, a stent, a bypass, a heart transplant, if you're having bad angina, a program modeled after Nathan Pritikin, the Pritikin Longevity Center in South Beach, and a program modeled after Dr. Dean Ornish have both been approved 7-8 years ago by Medicare. It's called intensive cardiac rehab. Unfortunately, most cities, like I'm in Detroit with 4 million people, we have 0 of those cardiac rehab programs. We have one in Ann Arbor, Michigan, an hour away. So very few people get this unbelievably advantageous lifestyle program, even around the country. But if that could ever expand to more centers, it's financially very lucrative. If it could also expand to prevention, so you haven't had your heart attack, well, we know you have risk or disease, but at this point, the insurers don't pay for that kind of intensive program. I think it'll move to digital coaching, online education, become more cost effective, and hopefully they'll cover the cost of that. Yeah.
That's great. So speaking of risk, you talked about risk. What are some of the ways people can know they're at risk? Because, for 50% of people, you can correct me on that statistic, like their first sign of heart attack in the conventional approach is drop dead of heart attack.
Drop dead, or you're in the emergency room with doctors hovering over you, telling you you're going to the cath lab in 10 minutes. This is an emergency. I mean, it's got to be one of the scary. I've done that. I've been the guy telling the person who doesn't know what a heart is that you're having a heart attack, and in 10 minutes I'm going to put a tube in your groin or a tube in your wrist, and I'm going to take pain. How could they possibly understand that?
Right.
But we have to go through the informed consent process. So wonderful question. So number one, there are some physical exam findings. So if you're a guy listening to this, or you're a woman who knows a guy that has erectile dysfunction, that can be a clue to silent heart disease 3, 4, 5 years before there's a heart attack, a bypass, a stent. Get the floppy guy into a heart doctor, get all the labs done, and we'll go beyond that. Number two, there's a funny little crease you can have in your earlobe. It's called, and everybody Google this, diagonal earlobe crease. It's been described for more than 40 years as a predictor of silent heart disease because your earlobe is made of collagen and your arteries are made of collagen. This is a failure of inadequate collagen strength. Don't go buy bone broth. Don't go buy animal collagen. Eat more vitamin C and lysine, which is lentils and citrus and greens. But if you've got a deep groove in your earlobe, go Google that, diagonal earlobe crease. Number three, every city in the United States has a hospital that offers a CAT scan of the heart that takes about 1 minute, that involves no IV, no iodine, no pain, nothing scary, no claustrophobia. It's called a coronary artery calcium scan, CACS. In my city, it costs $70. You can't go out for dinner with 3 or 4 people for $70. It costs $70. You will find out in under a minute if you've got silent heart disease or not. You may have to talk your doctor into a prescription and say, I want that heart scan. Anybody wants to learn more, I've written a dozen articles pleading people at age 40, 45, 50. Ask for a prescription for a coronary artery calcium scan. It's a CT scan. No risk of iodine allergy, no risk of pain or suffering. And find out if you got silent heart disease. There's a new study out of Madrid that says even with an optimal blood pressure, and optimal cholesterol, and optimal blood sugar, 50% of bank workers in Madrid have silent artery disease eroding their health until the day they have a stroke or heart attack. And you want to be aggressive, and just like a mammogram or a thermogram, just like a colonoscopy, treat your heart as the most important organ in your body. Or if you're Woody Allen, you say it's the second most important organ because below the groin is the most important, but treat it as an important organ in your body and do the same maintenance you do on a brand new car in a schedule. Get a heart CT scan.
Unbelievable. That's great. So, there was one more thing. Okay, you mentioned lab tests. So what are some of the labs? I know there's more than just cholesterol, HDL, LDL. There's so much more. So why don't you share with some of us? Real
quick list. And number one, there's something called advanced cholesterol. For $30, $40, there's something called more than just, that you get your cholesterol, your HDL, your LDL, your triglycerides. We've been doing that for 50 years. Of course, there's been an advance. 15 years ago, we got a better test called an advanced cholesterol panel. It tells you your LDL particle number. Just ask your doctor, or actually you can go online, and companies like Life Extension, companies like Wellness FX, you can order it on your own and take the kit to a local lab and get it drawn. Know your advanced labs. There's a cholesterol particle called lipoprotein A. This came into the public view many, many times. But Bob Harper, the fitness trainer on The Biggest Loser show with Jillian Michaels, almost died in February 2017 of a heart attack. 51 years old. He's got muscles for 3 people. He's having a deadly heart attack. he announced on the Dr. Oz show the next month, I found out I have a genetic cause of high cholesterol called lipoprotein A. That's a $20 test at your local hospital. Maybe you're one of the 65 million people in America that have a high lipoprotein A level. Find out. You might want to eat better, beans, not beef, if you have a high lipoprotein A level. And so there's other blood tests you might want to do, a homocysteine level, looking at methylation.
Homocysteine.
But if you do a little extra lab work, and anybody wants to know, I've written many articles on the internet, you know, a cardiologist, how to prevent your first heart attack, Joel Kahn, and it's a pretty thorough list of inexpensive, accessible ways to be certain you're not the next statistic. You know, about 2 weeks ago in LA, a 40-year-old, Jonathan Feldstein, died. He was the manager of Adam Levine and Maroon 5. Probably a pretty cool job at age 40 to be managing one of the best rock groups in America. Adam Levine on, you know, the show on Blanket for a Minute, you know, with Blake Shelton and such. But The Voice, my brain worked. But you don't want to be 40 and dead with 2 little kids of a heart attack. Get checked. I have this another trademark, test, not guess. Don't guess about your heart. Test your heart. Just like you test your boobs and you test your colon.
Yes.
Test your prostate. Test your heart.
Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. And the other thing, I wanted to ask you about some others. There's some new tests. I used to use the VAP. VAP went away.
Yeah.
And
it went bankrupt. They went bankrupt. They do. They don't exist anymore. But so
it's a new
Cleveland Clinic has a lab called Cleveland Heart Labs. Just got bought by Quest. Quest is the biggest lab company in the world, $6 billion a year. So everybody in the United States will be able to walk into a Quest lab within the next month or two. They already can get very advanced labs. They're going to be able to get the most amazing cardiac lab panel in the world. It's the one I use exclusively. There's a great company called Boston Heart that has a great lab panel. There's a great company called True Health, great lab panel. But I particularly am kind of very fond of the Cleveland Heart Lab panel. Okay. Yeah.
And is that similar to the VAP, where they have the particles? And
it's like VAP on cocaine. It's so much more advanced. It's really, you know, you've heard, Ritamarie, of TMAO, this molecule that if you eat egg yolk and red meat, your microbiome produces a chemical we only learned about 6 years ago. So the Cleveland Heart Lab is the only lab in the world that runs TMAO. I've ordered thousands of them on patients, and it gives me good reason to say, you've got a high TMAO, which causes your arteries to clog, which may cause your mortality to go up. You better give up eggs. You better give up red meat, because physiologically, I can prove to you it's not working.
Prove it. Yeah, that's great. So they include that in there. And then there's another one from SpectraCell. Have you seen that one? They have.
SpectraCell has awesome work. I order the nutritional panel and others.
Okay. Yeah, they have one called it's the particle one. Great. So now people know how to do this, because a lot of folks, you know, they think about the problems they currently have, right? Oh, I got gas, I've got bloating, I'm exhausted, I've got, you know, blood sugar problems. But the heart stuff is so hidden that it suddenly just comes up on you, and it's the one that can kill you, right? A little bit of gas.
Well, that's the problem. That's why, you know, erectile dysfunction is a pretty obvious problem. Don't ignore it. You know, test, not guess. This little earlobe crease, don't ignore it. Yeah. If you're a guy, I'm 60 years old and I got a little gray. If you're prematurely gray, new verified marker of silent heart disease. If you're balding on top of the young age, new verified marker of heart disease. So premature balding. These are important clues not to miss the opportunity to get that $70 CAT scan and make sure you're on the good side of health.
One of my sisters started going gray. She was completely gray by the time she was 30, right? My husband was almost completely bald by the time he was 30.
Wow. Hey, you know, none of these are 100% except that CAT scan.
Right.
The earlobe crease is
fine, right? It's just like, okay, go get the test.
Yeah. How hard is it to look at your earlobes? That's 70% accurate. The CAT scan is 100%. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's very cool. This is good stuff, guys. What do you think? I'm not seeing the comments.
I'm having fun.
I'm not seeing the comments. Why am I not seeing the comments? Hello.
Hopefully we're going live. Are you out there? I see recording. I see live on Facebook.
I see that. Let me just check with my team and tell them I can't see the comments today. It sounded good. Can I am not seeing the comment.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of hearts.
You are?
Yes.
Well, maybe we're answering all their questions so adequately.
Yeah, but usually I see Johnny joined and Mary joined and all that. So
I know. Yeah. I'm going to my Facebook. Yeah,
right.
I see us. You're live. I'll put it in a comment.
All right, but I'm not
see if it works.
Yeah, it's not coming up. I'll see. Oh, there's somebody shared my video. Joel Kahn likes a video you shared. I'm seeing it off to the side. Okay, it's a little bit different than it normally is. Okay. Oh. I'm going to refresh the page and see. All right, sorry. I just want to make sure that I can. Different than it normally is. There we go. I'm going to refresh the page. There, that's what happened when I refreshed the page, but still
it's
not
refreshed.
Oh well, not seeing them. Too bad. I thought I had this whole thing. Now I got it.
When you get a chance, it's Kahn. You were rushing.
Okay.
You've got my name. You got my Kahl, but you know that.
Kahl.
I think it's your I think it's your 9-day water fast.
And I also am a very bad typist. I'm really bad, and I don't look. I just send things, and I have type.
Well, you do so much else, superstar, so you're allowed to be a bad typist.
Yay! Thank you. I'm going to look at my list to see, and I also want to see what other people are asking. So I'll check with them in a minute. I asked you that. I asked about that.
Let's talk let's talk about the role of plant-based nutrition in reversal of heart disease.
That was my next.
So what if you got an earlobe crease? What if you have erectile dysfunction? What if you go for the calcium score and you find out that you have silent and fairly scary heart disease? These are not happy news. These are aging, and we're talking about serious aging. So what do you do about it? You go back to the 1940s and 50s, and a pretty much unknown physician named Walter Kempner, MD at Duke, who showed you can reverse blood pressure, cholesterol, kidney disease, and heart disease with a diet with minimal or absent animal products. That was in the 1940s and 1950s. One of the coolest dudes ever was an internal medicine doctor at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, Lester Morrison, MD. And Lester Morrison in 1948-49 had this knowledge base to say, I've got all these heart patients in my practice in Los Angeles. I have nothing to offer them. I mean, 1948, there was no surgery, no catheterization, no angioplasty, no medicine. He said, I'm going to give half of my heart patients a diet that has no animal products, cream, cheese, olives, avocados, nuts, all this crazy stuff. He showed that the half that he fed that Morrison diet to, it had no name, lived 50% longer than those that ate standard LA food in 1948, 1949. He actually published 12-year follow-up. He's like a hidden hero, but he was known to Nathan Pritikin. He was known to Dr. Dean Ornish, that he had done some published studies in 1951 that you can live twice as long with heart disease if you give up animal products and high saturated fat foods of an animal origin, even potentially some of a plant origin, like olive oil, because he had a diet that didn't include olive oil in 1950. It was so far ahead of the game, it's insane. Yeah. And then came that crazy engineer, Nathan Pritikin, who treated his own high cholesterol with lifestyle and a plant-based diet, and then started teaching the world, became world famous, wrote many books, and they're still in South Beach, Miami, the Pritikin Longevity Center, and then my guru, my hero, Dr. Dean Ornish, who did scientific studies. You have heart disease, you're at risk of dying early in life, you're at risk of having a heart attack, erectile dysfunction. It's easy. You just stop eating animal products, start eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes. You do a little yoga, a little mind body, a little Hare Krishna, Om 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 Om. You get around some like-minded people, and you have nearly a bulletproof cardiac future. Excuse me for that. And, you get around these people. So my cardiology practice in Detroit, we teach heart disease reversal, and we document it. We document that arteries are getting younger and younger. I called a lady today. You're younger this year than last year, and nobody else in America, hardly anywhere, can say that. No. But I can document it by looking at how old arteries are, and it's a powerful and wonderful process.
That's wonderful. Wow. There's a lot there. A lot of people are talking about, like, lately. There it is.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
Please.
Endorsed by Dr. Dean Ornish and John Mackey, founder of Whole Food Markets. It just came out yesterday. It's got 3 weeks worth of recipes. It's all the medical issues that can be solved with plant-based nutrition. According to science, I'm a professor at 2 medical schools. I can't make stuff up. They kick me out if I told you that, you can grow hair back on your head with plant-based nutrition. Probably is true, but I don't know that, so I don't have a chapter on that. But I have a chapter on diabetes and obesity and hypertension, hyperlipidemia, kidney disease.
I saw it.
Autoimmune, pre-Alzheimer's, all kinds of medical issues that really can limit people's quality of life and enjoyment of life. And the answer is the produce department, and getting some new recipes. I mean, inject yourself with medicines, take pills, have operations, have disability, or learn some new skills. And it's not easy, but go read that book called Presto by Penn Jillette. Find out how one of the world's most famous comedian magicians, added decades to his life by just learning that spinach tastes good, and it actually tastes fresher than French fries and malted milk.
Yep, absolutely. So let me ask you this then. You've got this book, you wrote all this stuff, and it's all science-based, but we hear a lot from people, that stuff's not real. I mean, that's what the stuff that boggles my mind. Like people are paleo and eating bacon and butter all day. And I'm not dissing paleo because it's way better in the most part than the standard American diet. But that people take it like, the meat is good, meat is more is better. But they're saying that some of the studies aren't founded, and they didn't use organic meat. And what do you say about that?
I think it's all smoke and mirrors. Now, the truth is that nutrition is complex, and there are people that smoke and live to 100. There are people that eat eggs, bacon, and cheese and live to 100. There are people that are plant-based and get cancer. It's a difficult issue because genetic influences, environmental influences. Is your water quality good? What's your air quality? What's your stress level? How do you sleep? What's your cortisol, your hormones? All that stuff. So nutrition is a major cog in the wheel. But you can do nutrition right and still have other influences and end up with medical issues. And you can do nutrition wrong and happen to have a whole lot of other good stuff going on and end up with a pretty nice lifestyle and quality of life. So we can't be, pompous about it. But without a doubt, there's misinformation about, nobody talks about the risk of ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet using animal products have scientific support for refractory epilepsy, but you listening today probably don't have refractory epilepsy, and it's a badass idea if you're trying to do it for diabetes or heart disease or weight. There's much better ways to do it with plants, because there's 7 studies that suggest long-term, low-carb, ketogenic diets increase your risk of dying. And once you're dead, you can't go back and eat again. So just read a blog I wrote a few weeks ago trying to parse that out very carefully and scientifically. Similarly, the paleo movement, I mean, I love it because you're not supposed to eat at McDonald's, and you're not supposed to eat at Wendy's, and you're not supposed to eat donuts and frappuccinos. We all agree to that. But do you want to stack your diet heavily with animal products? No. Do the original Lauren Cordain paleo diet if you're going to do it, because you read his first book. It was a pretty decent approach to clean eating. It wasn't plant-based, but it was plant-strong. All of a sudden, everybody's into butter in your coffee. Where was that in the caves of the paleo people?
Right, exactly.
Or this POP diet by Asim Malhotra, cardiologist in England. He's like totally made shit up and calls it a paleo POP diet, but it's shit. It's shit he made up. I know it very well, and I won't go into that at length. So, plant strong or plant only is the only quadrant. Whole food and plants will always get you down the road to health with a little good luck and a seatbelt and a bicycle helmet.
That's a good thing too. I love what you said about Cordain, because I remember reading that. It's like, this is so far askew from people are taking like, meat at every meal. That's not what paleos did. They ate a bison or whatever they had access to, a lion, whenever they found one, and then they ate plants.
Right, and then they fasted a lot because they couldn't find any food other than tubers and roots and bugs. So, throw in a little appropriate fasting, at least 12 hours a day, you shut the kitchen down. And, a healthy paleo diet may be a reasonable option for some people, but it's not the butter in the coffee, whatever, that's not called paleo. And similarly, a healthy plant-based diet of whole foods with minimal sugar, oil, and salt is probably the best foundation for health.
When I tell people who don't want to go the whole way, I say plant-based, And then if you want a little, 2-3 ounce piece of meat every day or two, that's organic, that's pastured, that's all that bit, no big deal as long as everything else is healthy. But when the kind of approach where you're eating meat at every meal, I just don't think it's not so.
I think when you enter heaven, cows, chickens, pigs, and turkeys are there to greet you. And if you're a plant-based eater, I think it's like Vestal virgins. I worry about the other people.
You're so funny. Like, can I ask you some questions that people have been typing in?
Sure.
Okay, good. So, let's see. I got to use.
I'm going to cheat on your site and see if I can figure it out.
Okay, so Kelsey says, this is great info. Heart disease runs in my family. My grandmother died from it. She was super tiny. Right, because you can't tell, right? It's not just the obese people.
No, absolutely. Weight is clearly an issue, and weight promotes risk of cancer, which is an important statement. Weight promotes the risk of adult diabetes, dementia. There's something called the Dinosaur Syndrome. Bigger your body, the smaller your brain. Dr. Daniel Amen made that very famous. There's many dozens of studies. Bigger your body, the smaller your brain. That's a problem because you don't want to be 70 years old and not know when it's your birthday. But obesity isn't the whole thing. Thin people get coronary disease. Thin people are at risk of metabolic syndrome. TOFI, thin outside, fat inside.
Right.
So weight is an important endpoint, and healthy approach to weight is important. Weight, but still get checked. If you're thin and you got an earlobe crease, you got erectile dysfunction, you got premature balding or gray hair, go get that darn $70 coronary artery calcium scan CT at your local hospital.
Love that. I love that. Can you share more about the ALP LDL pattern B and why it's dangerous?
Yeah, pattern. So all elevated cholesterol is dangerous. When your LDL goes up, you're more likely to develop atherosclerosis. But there is a super dangerous and a slightly less super dangerous form of high cholesterol. So the type B is more pro-atherogenic. But let me just say right now, if you're going to your doctor and getting routine cholesterol tests, you won't know any of the stuff we're talking about.
Right.
You have to get these advanced tests, Boston Heart, Cleveland Heart, Quest Labs, and if you don't do that, you won't know. So, it's only how bad do you want to be. Do you want to be type A with a high cholesterol or type B, which is super risk, but they're all of risk. So, and it's complex. I saw 2 people in the office today with cholesterol 300. One had one of these heart CT scans, coronary artery calcium scan, perfect, because it's a complex equation. And one had silent but advanced heart disease, because cholesterol has never been the only risk factor for heart disease. It's always been 19 or 20 different items. So you have to get to somebody who practices, functional medicine or integrated medicine cardiology. What's your lipoprotein A? Be sure you get your lipoprotein A checked, like Bob Harper. What's your C-reactive protein? What's your inflammation? What's your homocysteine? And then what's your sleep like? What's your stress like? What's your love like? There's a lot of factors. Anxiety increases the risk. Anxiety and depression dramatically increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. And there's no blood test for that.
Right.
That's doctor-patient relationship or questionnaires.
Right. Asking a lot of questions. Okay. So KD says, I invited, what's that? Dr. Emery is one of my mentors. She's right here in Austin, Texas with my friend.
Austin, Texas?
Oh, she must have invited some people. Yay.
Yay.
She just said, share with as many people as you can. $70 sounds well worth it. Janine, what's the name of the CAT scan? Is that the CASC?
CACS. Coronary artery calcium scan. If anybody has 60 minutes, go to Netflix, watch a documentary called The Widowmaker. And it is just like blow your mind exposure about how this CAT scan, The Widowmaker movie, how this CAT scan was developed 20 years ago, used to be expensive. In Texas, state of Texas, every citizen gets a free one at age 50 by law, covered by all insurance plans. Okay. But if you're living in Michigan, okay, now you have to pay $70. That's a lot better than it was 5 years ago.
A lot better, yeah. But does Medicare cover it too?
Well, if you're in Texas, everybody gets the free one.
I'm going to make him go get it, or tell him to go get it. He's doing the test with me, by the way. So
yeah, in Indiana, you don't need a prescription. You walk in a hospital, you pay $45 and say, I want a coronary calcium scan. They'll do it. In Michigan, you have to have a doctor's prescription, which is a roadblock, unfortunately.
They all have to come to you.
And I give them out like candy, and I get these reports back. I don't remember who these people are. I have to track them down because they're very often abnormal, 50% of the time.
Wow. Good for you. So Belinda says, I just heard of Dr. Kahn. I love this information from Dr. Joel Kahn. Thank you.
Hi, Belinda. I just heard of you, Belinda, and I'm very excited to know you. I did put on Dr. Ritamarie's Facebook page the link to my doctor's site since she spelled my name a little wrong.
I'm sorry.
Just wanted to put it a little right.
Somebody change that, Lynn, or
it's all right. I'm not worried about it. It's all right.
So here's it. How do they get you? Because you said all these articles. What's your website?
Yeah, I have a website, and I started my career doing medical articles, textbooks, stuff like that. And they're wonderful. They take an unbelievable effort. So I've learned to love to write blogs, and I write 1 or 2 or 3 a week all over the place. And they're all at drjoelkahn.com, but it's drjoelkahn.com. And I have fun with it. I mean, I've gotten bold, and I'll take on the giants and represent the plant-based science, and it can be downright ugly sometimes, but we're talking about people's health, so it's worth being passionate about it, because we're talking about lives. David Katz is a professor of preventive medicine at Yale who makes the point, heart disease is not theoretical. We're not just discussing the possibility that the earth is flat or the earth is round. We're talking about people who are reading articles in the New York Times, and they've got to make a decision that could impact their risk of having a heart attack, stroke, and dying prematurely. This is the #1 killer of heart disease. So I am passionate about it because I do care. And although we have areas that we do not know the answer to every question, would everybody in the world live longer if they ate a totally plant-based whole food diet? We don't have such a study, but it would be better for the animals, it would be better for the environment, and it probably wouldn't screw too many people up, actually. I think there'd just be less erectile dysfunction. There'd be more people on the planet.
Ooh, yeah, we
have
go.
To deal with
Mighty group.
Population overgrowth.
Right, exactly. Okay, let's see. Who else has questions? Okay, we got the APO, KD. We had, Jay has a good question.
There's my name.
What do you take to offset the effect of heart meds like beta blockers and ARBs like vaso?
Yeah, I know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kale, it's lima beans, it's cantaloupe, it's legumes like lentils. So, I'm being facetious. Some people need prescription drugs. I'm a medical doctor. I have a license. I write prescriptions. It sometimes takes a lot of effort to get off a blood pressure med, to reduce or get off diabetic medicines for adult diabetic, type 2 diabetic. It takes a lot of effort, and not everybody's going to succeed. Maybe 80% will if they really work hard at it. Even throw in water fasting at True North. Not 100% of people get off all their medication. How do you offset them? As best a lifestyle as you can, as best of a rainbow-colored whole food, brightly nourishing, phytonutrient-rich diet. So a little mind, body, rest, sleep, a little bit of love and social support. Isolation, loneliness is not good for the human spirit. And you do all those things. And some people will stay on medicines, and some of them do good things for people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and sometimes it's life-threatening. So, and if the damage has gone too far. But what do you say? I'm going to just throw this question out here because I get this question all the time. I answer it all the time. Where do you get your protein?
Can I use expletives?
You already have.
Oh, you did? Okay. So in this chapter in Penn Jillette's book called Presto, and I'm sorry I said it 5 times, but I love the book. He has a chapter called Where do you get your protein? And his chapter starts, where do you get your protein? His answer is, fuck you. What foods have protein? Fuck you. Why do you need to eat protein? Fuck you. It's the funniest paragraph I've ever read on the topic, and I'm going to read it at a plant-based meeting in Detroit next week. Joel Fuhrman's going to be there, and I may have to tone it down a bit, because I love Dr. Fuhrman, but I don't think he's going to respond well to the expertise. So, actually, though, Penn Jillette explained this better than almost anybody I've ever read. Mm-hmm. Okay, beef has protein. Whoa, but does a beef make all those amino acids? No. How does beef have all the amino acids the human body needs? Beef eats plants. Plants do not eat other things. Plants have to make and contain all these essential amino acids to have their DNA and their machinery work to continue to be a plant. So only plants have all 20 amino acids, of which 9 are essential amino acids. And cows and chicken and turkey and pork have them only because they eat plants. If they stopped eating plants, they wouldn't be able to produce them. So we are using a very expensive middleman in terms of the environment, in terms of cruelty, and in terms of things like TMAO and cholesterol, saturated fat, POPs, persistent organic pollutants, and other toxins that come with animals. We're using them when if we just would eat the plants, we're going to get the original source of all the essential amino acids. And when we eat a piece of beef, we have to break it down with various peptases and things that break down protein to get them to the amino acids so we can use them and build them up to our own protein and our own DNA and such. So this has all been so misconstrued that there's something magical about plant-based protein because they really have hijacked it from plants. We just need to go directly to the source. So I thank Penn Jillette for making that so clear, expletive included. I hope no children are watching, and please don't repeat this language if you're under the age of 18. But it is so consistently misunderstood. In fact, I've gotten very close with Dr. Walter Longo. Dr. Walter Longo, PhD in LA, University of Southern California, is the world's leading expert on aging and longevity. Last year was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine at age 48. He came in second because a bunch of 90-year-olds were given the award because 90-year-olds deserve the Nobel Prize. He'll win it another year. And he'll tell you until about age 70, a low-protein diet will slow aging and slow destruction of your body because it inhibits pathways called mTOR and pKa that he actually discovered. And when you get 70, 75, you probably want to be really sure you're getting enough beans and nuts and greens and spirulina and chlorella and sources of protein in the diet. But until that age, you're better off low protein. So we need to slay the protein myth, as my friend Rich Roll says. Yeah,
I agree with you. And we're actually interviewing him a week from today. So
Rich Roll?
No, Walter Vongo.
Oh my God, you are so lucky. Vongo. He is the sexiest human in the world.
Is he really? Ooh,
oh my God. No. Walter, I'm married 36 years right there. See that? That's called the ball and chain that I love so much. My wife, Karen, who I honor greatly and owns half of my estate. So I love her so much. And she's a wonderful woman. She's an RN, BSN educator, plant-based person. Okay. And she runs my restaurant with my son, Daniel, that's where I'm sitting right now. But Walter Longo has this brain bigger than the universe, and he has done the most remarkable science. You're so lucky you've got Walter Longo. He has a new book out called The Longevity Diet that is awesome. I
created that one too. Well, you first introduced me to him when you talked at Mindshare about the fasting mimicking diet. I'm really excited about that because a lot of people don't want to or can't fast, for whatever reason.
5 days a month, and you still get to eat 800 calories a day of real food, plant-based food, and it will transform your waistline, transform your stem cells, transform your inflammatory pathways, and probably promote autophagy to clean up your body and make you actually somewhat younger. So I do that not every month, but I've done it 7 times, lost 25 pounds, and have dozens and dozens of patients that praise the fasting mimicking diet.
I can't wait to talk to him. I ordered his book a couple of months ago too, just like yours.
He was a jazz guitarist when he came to the United States at age 19. Yeah, he was a very accomplished guitarist and took a total career path, reinvented himself.
Oh my God. I thought, why is this book actually in Italian and it got converted? Is that because
he was born in Calabria in southern Italy.
So he wrote it in Italian and then converted.
Yeah, it's an international bestseller, but it just wasn't in English. So.
Okay. So now it's in English. So come back in a week. If you want to be reminded, just go ahead and like the page. If you're a guest and you've just come in, just like the page and you'll get notified when we go live with Dr. Vongo. All right. I think Janine can't catch the name of the scan. Somebody, Lynn, maybe put it in the chat.
Coronary artery calcium scan, heart calcium scan, the Widowmaker movie. I'm sorry, I have to move. Somebody knocked on the door, and I want to make sure they don't disrupt this. Coronary artery calcium scan, the Widowmaker movie is by far the best resource to check it out. Yeah.
Great. And how do they get the book? Just go to Amazon?
My book, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, all the usual channels. Yeah.
All right, great. So, and Dina says, thank you so much for giving me the gift of your wisdom and time. And
Thank you. I'm happy to do that, of course.
Janine,
thank you for giving me the gift of your time if you're watching this tonight with Dr. Ritamarie, who is my favorite nutritional expert around, for sure. 9 days water fasting. Look how bright and sharp she is.
I've been like this the whole time. It's been, except for the first 3 days. That was a little tough. But yeah, I have all this energy, and I'm like, my blood sugar is 33, and I am like bouncing off the walls with energy and clarity and making videos. And so, you know, people have this misconception about fasting. And yeah, there's some people who can't do it, obviously. But, and, you know, lifestyle makes a difference too. If you're in this major stress thing and you just can't rest and all that, you know. But who else?
Crazy.
Yay, Janine finally got the name. Have always loved you and now love Dr. Kahn. That's Belinda. Yay.
Thank you, Belinda. Again, Belinda, thank you.
Go get his book, guys. Go get his book.
Any of you guys in Detroit, Michigan? Any of you watching in Detroit, Michigan? I got to give another shout out. I'm in my restaurant, Green Space Cafe, Ferndale, Michigan, the largest plant-based restaurant in the Midwest. Full bar, full plant-based menu, no oil menu for those seeking heart and other disease reversal. And it's fun. So if you're ever wandering through Detroit and looking for a good meal, come visit us. Organic tempeh and great superfood salads and all kinds of fun stuff.
I may have to make it up there. Not in the winter, though. I won't go in the winter, but I may have to.
Yeah, it's absolutely so bitter right now.
I'd love to visit you. Oh, it's bitter here too. So, but not as bitter as yours. Let's see. So Jay has another good question. Will nattokinase help dissolve the plaque buildup and blood vessel narrowing? And also what else helps increasing blood flow?
Yeah, so nattokinase, of course, natto, which is a form of fermented soy, and a natural food in the Japanese islands, Okinawa and such. Natto is very rich in vitamin K2, which I'm sure Dr. Ritamarie loves and uses in her patients. Vitamin K2 may help prevent calcification and aging of arteries, may also help prevent adult diabetes, cancer, and some other proposed mechanisms that are out there. So natto is one of my favorite recommendations. The problem is the American palate. It's like eating Limburger cheese and has a very offensive flavor and taste and texture. So you can get vitamin K2, of course, as a supplement, maybe alone, maybe with vitamin D. Nattokinase is an enzyme that's derived from natto that may have some blood coagulation thinning effects, like a natural aspirin. I'm concerned in my clinic, which is often very serious heart disease, the wealth of the data on aspirin and the limited data on nattokinase in serious heart disease. I use it because there are patients that are allergic to other more standard prescription drugs, but I'm not aware of actually bona fide data that it will reverse plaque. Vitamin K2, probably much more likely to reverse plaque. Keolic garlic, aged odorless garlic, actual definite data from Los Angeles may help reverse plaque. Plant-based diet will reverse plaque. I'm giving away all my secrets here. There's actually some forms of seaweed that seem to bolster artery health and may help reverse plaque. But nattokinase I use sparingly, actually.
You do? Okay. I've used it with high blood pressure and gotten people.
Yeah, it actually works for that as opposed to its blood thinning effects. And the problem is I have some people come to me, they have artificial heart valves, mechanical heart valves. They want to be on nattokinase. I mean, they risk their very life coming off blood thinners to go into nattokinase. Yes. And I will say no, because you can't do that with a life-sustaining artificial, product in your body. And I have to tell them, look, I trained conventionally first, and I got weird a little later in life. So please don't risk your health just to say you're natural. Natural and dead is still dead.
Yeah. There you go. I love that. Yeah. So all this is in your book. So if you're liking what you're hearing, hold up the book again. Go to Amazon and order the book. And it's, it's an inexpensive investment, like under $20.
Yeah, it is. It's still on the pre-order price, which is under $20.
Yeah. So go get it. I have it on my Kindle. You can buy it on the
Lots of yummy recipes. Chia pudding for 1, minestrone soup for 2. And veggie rolls for 4. So
there you go.
Whatever number you got.
Whatever you got. Love it. Yeah. So go there and get it. Thank you for the book name. Yes. And just look up Joel Kahn, Kahn. K-H-N, not
Thank
L.
you. Everybody can spell it right. K-H-N.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions out there?
I think we got. Oh, Belinda, I've always loved you. There we go. There you go. Yeah, good. Hold it up long enough for people to catch it. Beatrice says, and in response to your comment about me being your favorite nutrition expert, she says, I agree. She is a miracle worker. Thank you, Beatrice.
I feel that way too.
Okay, so Karen's gonna send some people to your restaurant because she knows some people up there. Yay.
Good.
Okay. Need a retreat there. Yeah, that's the next thing.
Yeah, come in the summer.
Yeah, but
this is the Great Lakes steak. It's absolutely beautiful in the summer. It gets a little tough this time of year.
Well, we have family that just bought a summer house in Michigan. I don't remember the name of the town. It's close to the Chicago border, but
there's Sagatuck and St. Joe's and Benton Harbor. It's a very pretty part on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, so maybe I'll go up and visit you when we go up to visit them.
Many people in the Southwest actually spend the summer in northern Michigan because it's absolutely beautiful this time of year.
Laura said she's grown to like natto and added different ingredients. Karen Osborne, if you don't know Karen, do a Google search on her. She eats natto religiously every day. She researched it for her bone health, and she eats it every day, but she's come up with some great recipes. And she actually has a video that teaches you how to make your own natto.
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 I think
natto
we need
nachos.
Natto nachos. I think we need a natto patch. Natto patch or some form of, way to get it.
I like that idea, natto nachos, because anything that's covered with guacamole and salsa is going to taste okay.
Except the cricket. I'm not big into
Except the cricket. Well, what about the cricket flour they're now doing?
I know. Paleo. It may help the environment to eat cricket flour rather than beef protein, but I'll pass on crickets personally.
I'll pass on crickets too. Where is your restaurant exactly? It's in
we're a suburb of Detroit. My restaurant and Detroit are 1 mile apart. It's called Ferndale, Michigan. It's kind of West Hollywood of the Detroit area. Very, very exciting, vibrant, young community here.
Fantastic. Laura says, yeah, that would be great. So Laura, create one and then give us the recipe for it.
Right.
Last one, adrenals. What about adrenals? Relationship of adrenals to heart disease?
Yeah, it's there. It's not a lot of solid medical data. There's just common sense. Stress. I mean, the common statement is 70-80% of office visits are somehow related to stress issues. Just talk to your patients about kids, older parents, finances, bosses, all kinds of stresses like that, getting old and the rest. Stress can lead to bad habits. I'm too tired to go to the gym because I didn't sleep last night because I was worrying about a work project, and I grabbed the donut because I didn't have time to make the green smoothie. And, stress pervades into so many aspects of choices about healthy lifestyle. So we can't avoid it. We just got to manage it. We got to manage it through breath. We got to manage it through yoga. We got to manage it through Tai Chi, meditation. I like adaptogens as probably you do, Ritamarie, whether it's ashwagandha, cordyceps, reishi, on and on, rhodiola. They're pills or they're powders, but they're much safer than getting people out of Xanax and Ativan, God knows. A little breathing, a little meditation. So, and a sense of humor. Every time you laugh at a problem, you're victorious. So I sometimes get criticized for being, either silly or having a sense of humor. Of course, usually not at a funeral. I try not to laugh at funerals. And by a sense of victory, it's not my funeral, but I try not to laugh at funerals. But other than that, and the FUs that I dropped all over this otherwise wonderful Facebook Live. I hope Zuckerberg doesn't shut us down and ban us as the ISIS health movement or something. But, a sense of humor helps a lot. Yeah,
absolutely.
And gratitude. I wake up every morning and I say this: before I will do anything, my eyeballs are open. There's about 3 minutes of a little, in my aspect, a Jewish background prayer on gratitude. The first words out of my mouth are, I am thankful. I do that every morning because
I think that's so critical.
There's this great quote from the Indian culture that says, a person with health has 1,000 dreams. A person with poor health has only one dream. I wish you 1,000 dreams. So if you wake up and everything's working, you better be appreciative that you've got the opportunity to pursue 1,000 dreams.
I agree. And I tell people, when you wake up, do 3 appreciations, even if one of them is just, wow, it's raining outside and there's a roof over my head. If that's just
Yep,
something in which shifts. I use heart math. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, right. Inner balance. Yes, absolutely.
Right. And then cortisol, like just going back to that, cortisol is known to be constrict blood vessels. It's known to cause hypertension.
Raise your blood sugar.
Raise your blood sugar. So it leads to all these other things.
Yeah,
so.
meditation lowers your cholesterol. There's a nice alternative to living.
There you go. I've been meditating every day for the last 370 days or so.
Wow. That's crazy.
I have this little music that I wear.
I'm moving around again. Some of these
Whoops.
beating.
So it looks like we got all the questions.
Okay.
Hold your book up one more
Ritamarie, you're in Austin, aren't you?
I'm in Austin, yeah.
Come here, Rod. You got to come on for a minute. I have a friend visiting from Austin, but he's in the plant-based food movement. Come here, Rod. Say hello.
Oh,
that's
hey,
Rod
hi.
Mansour. He has a food company called ATX Food Co. that does plant-based food delivery in Austin. So he's visiting me.
Love it.
He's doing actually doing food disease reversal. Ritamarie Loscalzo's in Austin.
I'm in Austin. We do a monthly potluck, a meetup. So
I'll introduce you to by texting.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is just random drop-in. I never know if who's going to drop in this center of plant-based love. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to know that because people are looking for food. They want to make. They don't want to make it. And,
You got to start the day with sea moss and bladderwrack. So you get 92 essential minerals that start the day.
Sea moss, I know bladderwrack, and that's really that's a good thing for the thyroid. But sea moss, I don't know about.
Sea moss is very rich in minerals from the Earth's crust and makes you feel powerful.
Okay, look at that. I've just recently been introduced to rockweed. Have you heard of that one?
Rockweed?
Yeah, rockweed. It's supposed to be really good for something related to the heart.
Okay. I'm going to learn from you. I already told you my epicenter of nutritional information. So I learned.
There you go. Will you come visit us?
Look at all those books behind you.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of books. Yeah, I got a lot.
Wow.
I read a lot. Well, come to Austin. Come on the last Saturday of most every month, and come visit us. We can do I do a live food prep in my kitchen, and it gets broadcast over the internet. And then in the evening, we do a potluck. So we do that together.
That's kind of a Blake Shelton song, Come to Austin, one of my favorite early songs.
And then there's good music. My husband knows where music is. And
John Mackey lives there, and John Mackey wrote that intro to my book, so I need to visit him. Thank you.
Come visit. All right.
It's going to happen in 2018, okay?
2018. Okay, good. Come in. Don't come. Well, you may not like it in the summer because it's hot, but
no, I trained in Dallas, Texas. That's where I did my cardiology training. Wait. Excuse me for a minute. Okay. What are those? Those are kick-ass plant-based cowboy boots. You got it.
Love it.
Kat Mendenhall in Dallas. She makes plant-based cowboy boots.
Wow. That's good to know. It's good to know. Well, this has been so much fun. I wish I didn't have to go, but I have another call coming up real soon. But
put two plant-based ADD people together on Facebook Live. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, well, we would go on forever if I didn't have someplace to go, right? Just come on and distractibility down this path, down that path. We'd give your whole book away.
Absolutely.
So go read the book. The cardiovascular is one chapter. The hypertension is another, but there's chapters on a lot of other things, including, autoimmune and other things. So go get the book. You will love it. I love it. They're sending like little thingies. Send some hearts. Oh, Facebook added some new things, little smileys. That's pretty. Well, we're getting a lot of smileys. Send some hearts and smileys. That's awesome. We got a whole bunch of them. We got some wows. Oh my, that's so cool. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for being here. I really appreciate it. I think it's great. Doreen said she just.
The light in me honors the light in you, you big light leader.
You too. Appreciate what you're doing in the world.
Feel good. Okay, thank you.
Bye. Much love.
Bye-bye.